Hey, what's up guys? This video is for section 9.1, which is graphing quadratic functions. And for this video, it is a very short video. If you guys like to watch my full version, my full lesson, you guys can look into that in my Algebra 1 playlist in my YouTube channel. But I'm going to skip around because graphing quadratic functions is a little bit challenging for my Algebra 1 students. So first, I'm going to explain the properties of a quadratic function, the name of the graph, and then I'm going to actually show you guys how to make the graph, how to graph the function. So let's go ahead and look at one of the questions that ask a few things about the function. So I'm going to do number 8 for you guys. Here it says we want to do 3 things. For questions number 7 through 8, A, we want to determine whether the function has a maximum or a minimum value. B, we want to state the maximum or minimum value. And C, what are the domain and range of the function. So number 8, let's go ahead and understand what the equation is telling us. First of all, when you guys are graphing a quadratic function, the graph has a name. It's called a parabola. The parabola is going to be a U shape. The U shape is going to go either up like a regular U or down like an upside down smile. You guys can say like a front. So let's look at those 2 shapes. Okay, I'm going to make a U shape up here so you guys can see that's a U shape going up. I'm going to put the little arrows because the parabola is going to infinity. Up, that's positive infinity. Or it might go down like this. Okay, so you guys have 2 options when you guys graph quadratic functions. It's either going up or down. How do you know what direction the parabola is going to go up or down? The A value is going to tell you guys which direction. If you guys have a positive A value, the parabola is going to go up. If you guys have a negative A value, the parabola is going to go down. So now let's also understand the standard form of a quadratic equation. When you guys look at number 8, I notice that I have y equals x squared minus 2x minus 5. My A value is going to be the one with the x squared. We do have an invisible 1 in front of the x squared. My B value is the one with the x, and my C value is the constant. And you notice constant starts with a C. So C is your constant. In this equation, the A value is positive, okay? A value 1 is positive. So that means my U shape is going to go up. When you guys have a U shape going up, we are going to have a minimum. This point right here is the minimum. If the parabola is going down like this point up here is going to be the maximum. So this is like a mountain, it's the highest point. You guys have the maximum. But here is the lowest point, so you guys have a minimum. So for number 8, we do have a minimum. I'm going to put MIN for minimum. You guys already know what that means. So A, check. We did part A. Part B, state the maximum or minimum value of that. So in order to find the maximum and the minimum value, we actually need to find the vertex. And the vertex is the maximum or the minimum value. But now we do have a minimum, but it's also called vertex. So no matter what parabola you guys have, the vertex is always called vertex. So there's a formula to find the vertex. First, you need to find the x value of the vertex, and then you guys need to find the y value. How do you find the x value? Well, when you guys have the standard form to find the x value, we need negative b over 2a, all right? After you guys substitute the b and the a in that formula, you guys find the x. You have to go back, find the y with the x value, and then you guys have the vertex. So I'm going to show you guys the work for the vertex here. So you guys see there's a lot of work here. I'm just going to zoom in to show you guys, but the minimum, we do have a vertex and it's going to be a minimum. When I substitute the negative 2 into the b, notice that we already have a negative. So that's why I have a double negative here. So I substitute b on the top, a on the bottom. So there's a 1 right there. I simplify the fraction. So I get 2 over 2, which equals 1. Then I go back and I substitute this value into every x in that equation. So I have 2 types of x's. I have an x squared and an x. So I substitute a 1 and a 1. I simplify the expression and I get negative 6. So my vertex is at 1, negative 6. But guess what? That is just the vertex. The question though says you want to state what is the minimum value. The minimum value is going to be your y value in your vertex. So it's okay you guys find the x, you actually need the x to find the y. So go ahead and find the vertex, but now I can say that my minimum value, I'm gonna put an arrow right here, y equals -6. That is my minimum value, okay? Or my vertex. My vertex is at 1, -6. So y equals -6 is the value of the minimum. The next step, let me just zoom out again so we can read part C. Part C says, what are the domain and range of the function? Okay, so first of all, guys, you have to remember what is domain and range. Domain are your x values, range are your y values, okay? So we want to know what values of x's work for this equation and what values of y's work for this equation. So my domain, in any or every, you guys can also say in every parabola quadratic function, the domain will be all real numbers, because no matter what number you guys substitute into that equation, is going to work. You guys are going to get a real answer, a real number. So for my domain, I'm going to put them on the side, and I know I'm running out of space here, but I'm going to write down domain is all real numbers, and that's the symbol R, means all real numbers. Not the range. The range though, guys, my range, it all depends on my minimum or my maximum. In other words, in my vertex and the direction of the parabola. So let's go back. Here, I know that the parabola is going to go up. I'm going to do the graph again. Actually, let me just zoom out so you guys can see the blue parabola right there. So I know my parabola is going up, okay? So that means that my y values, when I look at the vertex, here's the vertex. My y values will be on top. Everything goes up, so it's going to be on top of my vertex. Every y value that I can think of the parabola is going to be on top of the vertex. So I need to have a greater than or equal to. So you guys can see what is my range. My range is going to be y is greater than or equal to, that's because the parabola is going up, -6. Where does the -6 come from? From your vertex. That's actually your minimum point. We know we have a minimum at y equals -6, and that's going to be part of your range as well, okay? So you guys have greater than because the parabola is going up. Let's say that the parabola is going down. If the parabola is going down like this, you will have a less than or equal to the minimum, the maximum point. When you guys have the parabola going down, you guys have max. So the y value of the max will be your range. So you guys also need a less than if the parabola is going down. All right, guys, so now let's go ahead and actually graph the parabola. When you guys are graphing the parabola, I like to use 3 steps. So step number 1, you find the vertex. Step number 2, you find the axis of symmetry. Step number 3, you guys will find the y-intercept of that parabola. And you guys are going to use a pattern 1, 2 to actually find more points of the parabola. So number 1, you guys have y equals x squared minus 4. First of all, we need to know what are our values for a, b, and c. So I'm looking at y equals x squared. So a is going to be a invisible 1, the one with the x squared. B is the one with the x. But guess what? We don't have b. So, or we don't have x value. We do have an x squared, but not the x. So I know my b value is going to be 0. And c is going to be my constant. So -4 is my c value. Let's go ahead and follow the steps. Then number 1, let's go ahead and find the vertex. So I moved the graph to the right because I need more space to show you guys the 3 steps. So I already have the steps for you. Vertex, you guys need to find the x and the y value for that vertex. How do you know, or how do you find the x value? Well, we need the formula -b over 2a when you guys have the standard form. You guys substitute the b value. We talked about that b equals 0. The a value is 1. You simplify x equals 0. Then you guys go back, substitute 0 into the x squared. So there's 0 squared minus 4. We get y equals -4. So my vertex is at 0, -4. So I'm going to label that or graph that point 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's my vertex right there. I'm going to put a V for vertex. I know my parabola is going to go up because the a value is positive. So I know that is going to go up. Axis of symmetry. Axis of symmetry is what divides the parabola in half. You guys will have 2 equal sides. And we like to draw the axis of symmetry using a dashed line. So the axisymmetry is at x equals 0. And guess what? This comes from the x value from the vertex. So the x value of the vertex is the axisymmetry. So you don't have to do more work. It's already there for you. So I'm going to draw the dashed line. Notice through the vertex, and it is on top of the y-axis. So there's my axis of symmetry. I'm going to draw or write axis of symmetry. And the next step is my y-intercept. Now notice the y-intercept. The y-intercept is your c value, -4. So my c value right here, -4, is my y-intercept. Don't get confused, guys. I know that the y value for the vertex is the same thing as c value. That's not the same thing every time you guys have a parabola. It might change. So you always go with the c value. So my c value is the y-intercept. We already have the y-intercept right here. We already have it. So we don't have to plot it again. It is the vertex itself. Now the pattern. The pattern that I show you guys on my long lesson video is 1, 1, 2, 4. What does it mean? Well, we know that the parent function of a parabola, when you guys look at the vertex, you can find more points by using this pattern. From the vertex, you guys can go 1 to the right, 1 up, and you guys make a second point. Then from the vertex again, you guys go back to the vertex, and this time you guys go 2 to the right and 4 up. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Here, I go 1 to the right, 1 up. So I make a point. Then I go back to the vertex and I go 1, 2 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4 up. Like this. Now, I have to mention something really, really important. This pattern, 1, 1, 2, 4, it can change if the a value is not 1. If it's not +1, you guys need to multiply these two numbers, the 1 and the 4, on the right side by the a value. But right now, the a value is 1. So I don't need to multiply, because if you actually multiply by 1, you get the same numbers. 1 times 1 is 1, 4 times 1 is 4. But if you guys have a -1 or something else other than 1, you guys really need to multiply those numbers because your pattern will change. So now, the next step, okay? You guys found the vertex, axisymmetry, the y-intercept. We know the axisymmetry cuts the parabola in half. So I know that I already have half. I'm going to draw my U, kind of like my curve going up like this, on the right side of the axisymmetry. That's half of the parabola. So now I'm going to reflect the points on the other side. So this is what I mean. If you look at this point here is 1 unit away from the axisymmetry. So you guys are going to reflect 1 unit away on the other side, and you make another point. Let me change that to red right here. The second point that we have, we go 1, 2 steps away from the axisymmetry. So on the other side, 1, 2 steps away from the axisymmetry. So now you guys can actually make your U shape. From the vertex, you start making your U shape, and you connect the other 2 points, and you guys have yourself the parabola. That is your U shape. It's not a perfect graph. The U is not actually that great, but you guys have an idea how to graph that parabola. So I'm going to show you guys one more, and I will make a second video for this section because there's a lot to talk about with parabola functions. So tomorrow, make sure you guys check my video out. But let's go ahead and do number 12 here. F of x equals -2x squared minus 4x plus 6. First of all, f of x is the same thing as y. You guys can change that as y equals -2x squared minus 4x plus 6. But let's go ahead and find the 3 things we need to graph the parabola. So I did all the work on the right side here. You guys can see the vertex is at -1, 8. Notice I'm using the same formula, -b/2a. That is to find the x value of the vertex. You guys be careful with the double negatives because we have a b value of -4. And actually, I'm going to label that for you. A is -2, B is -4, C is +6. So you guys will substitute -b. So a negative with a -b right there. That's a double negative. Turns to positive. On the bottom, we do have 2 times -2. That's -4. We get -1 for x. You guys go back, substitute the -1 into the x in that equation. So we have x squared and x. So you guys substitute and we get +8. So that is my vertex, -1, 8. So let's go ahead and do that right now. 1 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's going to be right up here. That is my vertex. Okay, so I'm going to put a V for vertex. My axisymmetry is going to be at -1. So that's the same thing as the vertex. That is your axis symmetry. So through the vertex, you guys make a dashed line. So I make a dashed line going up and down like this. And it's very important. It's going to help a lot if you guys know the direction of the parabola. A value is negative. We have a -2a or -2 for a. So since it's negative, my parabola is going to go down. You guys will have a U-shape upside down. My y-intercept is +6. That is your C value. And I want you guys to notice, my C value is not the same as the Y value for my vertex. Do not get confused. My y-intercept is my C value, okay? So my C value is going to be at +6, and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right here. Now, I'm going to use my pattern. Notice my pattern, 1, 1, 2, 4, 1, 1, 2, 4, and I'm going to make or find more points. But here's the thing. Notice my A value is not 1. It's actually something else, and it is negative. So these two numbers, the 1 and the 4, you need to multiply by the A value, -2, right there. So that means that this one becomes a -2, and 4 on the bottom, 4 times -2 is -8. So what does it mean? It means that from the vertex right here, you guys are going to go 1 to the right, and -2, that means down. Negative means down. From the vertex, 1 to the right, 1, 2. Hey, guess what? We already have that point. It is the y-intercept. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the next one. 2 to the right from the vertex, and -8 means down. So from here, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 down. So you guys go all the way down right there. And let me just double check that. From the vertex, 1, 2 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 down. Now you guys are going to reflect the points. So on the other side, I'm going to go 1 unit away. Notice this one is 1 unit away from the axis symmetry. So 1 unit away here. And the one down here is 2 units away. So 2 units away on the other side, I make my other point right there. Now I connect the points. I try my best to make a U shape. It's not going to be great. You guys try your best too. And it should look something like this. Not great, but you guys see that the U shape is going down. Let me make this a little bit longer. And you guys have a maximum point, all right? Now, something else that I want to talk about is the domain and range. We know it is a maximum point, first of all, because the U shape is going down. So the vertex is called a maximum point. But let's talk about the domain and the range. For my domain, every single parabola, every single quadratic function, domain is going to be all real numbers. So you guys have to memorize that, because no matter what domain, what parabola you guys have, every x value is going to work. Now the range is something that actually changes. This depends on the vertex and on if it's a min or a max, okay? So first of all, we know that the vertex is at -1, 8. So my range will be y is less than or equal to +8. I'm using less than because my parabola is going down, and it is 8 because the vertex, the y value of the vertex is 8. So y is less than 8. If you guys think about it, here's my vertex right there. The parabola is going down, so it's on the bottom of that y value. What is the y value of this vertex? It's 8. So what are the numbers on the bottom? Less. The 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it keeps going to infinity, negative infinity. So you guys have the range at y is less than or equal to 8. And just like I mentioned, guys, I will make another video tomorrow, so make sure you guys check that one out. If you guys like my videos, you guys can click that like button, and you guys can also subscribe to my channel. If you guys think that a friend of you can actually watch my videos to help them with Algebra 1, go ahead and tell them, and they can also subscribe to my channel. Make sure you guys always practice, and I'll see you guys later.